Okay, I have to be honest. I was a vegetarian for 7 years, and then I started eating steak, and now I just eat every meat. Do you hate me?
So first we jerk off a bull with an electrojaculator.
Is that wrong?
Well, what do you think? Do you think sexually exploiting animals is wrong?
I feel like they are meant to be mistreated.
They're meant to be mistreated.
Meant to be mistreated because they've always been something to consume as humans. How do we win a free cookie?
Gotta answer some questions.
Let's see the question.
We're ready.
What do you think about animal abuse and people that abuse animals?
Hate it.
No good?
No good, period.
Same with you?
Well, what is considered as animal abuse?
You tell me.
I feel like pets.
Like, does that encompass pets?
Yeah, but the problem is if you talk about cows, I'll feel really sad. But I don't want to talk about that because I love cows.
Okay, I have to be honest. I was a vegetarian for 7 years, and then I started eating steak, and now I just eat every meat. Do you hate me? Am I disqualified from this?
No, I don't hate anybody. No.
Are you vegan? Is this a vegan table?
I am vegan, yes.
Okay, I think I have one of your dogs/cows at my apartment. The blow-up cows, dogs.
Oh, really?
Are you the ones
Yeah.
with breastfeeding?
Yeah, that's us.
As in humans should drink breast milk.
Yeah.
Wait,
Can
I'm
you
curious
explain
about
that?
that.
I
I
wanna
would
know
love to
more
hear
about
about that.
So it's a joke. It's mostly to get
Oh,
it's
I
mostly
thought
to
it
get
was
attention.
real.
No. We
Oh.
don't actually have human breast milk. The point
Seems very sweet.
the point we're trying to make is that like a lot of people think it's weird to drink human breast milk, right? Because they're not a baby.
Okay, but
We're
what's
pointing
the
out
difference between drinking cow milk?
right because you're not a baby and you're not a cow.
That's a great
Right?
rhetorical tool.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are winning. Who's on the marketing team?
Yeah, but it is, but if we didn't stop at this table, we'd be very confused.
Yeah,
We'd be
because
like, oh,
we
vegans are drinking breast
passed,
milk.
we passed by the table and we were like, that's so fucking weird. But
Yeah.
really,
But look, it works because now you got one of our cows and now you know.
now you roped us in.
Yeah, exactly.
Genuine question I have
Sure.
is that I feel like a lot of meat substitutes are not necessarily healthier because they are chemically made. So I don't really understand a lot of the meat substitutes. Or do
Yeah.
you not promote that?
I think it's fine if you eat them, it's fine if you don't. But veganism isn't really about health.
It's about ethics.
It's about the animals, actually, yeah. But yeah, ethics would count as it. So what we're trying to do here is, on a really broad level, we're trying to say, like, animals are someone, not something.
Animals are not what?
The animals are someone, not something. So, like, if I kicked a dog or I kicked a toaster, you'd probably be upset that I kicked a dog, but not the toaster. And that's because a dog is someone and a toaster is something. And that's sort of the root of it, right? So everything bad we do to animals kind of derives from that mentality.
But how do we as people in the United States override the fact that we view like cattle as something to consume rather than someone to care for and to value their life?
You talk to people like me.
We're doing that. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're over here talking. Do you guys know like specifics of what happens? Like, for instance, like I think you
I've
brought
watched
up.
a lot of documentaries.
Tell me what you know about cows.
Oh my god.
I've watched a lot of documentaries about chickens and a little bit about cattle.
Yeah.
But it's very hard for me to overcome the fact that like they're mistreated and that is bad because I feel, and this is very honest and probably poor, but like I feel like they are meant to be mistreated.
They're meant to be mistreated.
Meant to be mistreated because they've always been something to consume as humans.
Yeah. I guess if we kind of think about that from like a historical perspective, were there other times in history when people said like, oh, we've done this for a very long time, therefore it's okay?
Yeah, it's like slavery. Yeah, fair. No, I see all the logical holes that are with consuming animals.
Yeah. Let me talk to you about dairy a little, because this one is one that surprises people, right?
Dairy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one thing that I have a lot of. I've never felt any need to cut out dairy from my life.
Okay, then this will be a good one to talk about.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, okay, why does a cow produce milk?
Because it has babies.
Right, because she has babies, right?
She has babies.
Yeah. See, that's the objectification we're talking about. We even call those animals it,
I
right?
just got caught in the.
Yeah, I do it too sometimes, so it's still there. But okay, so because she has babies, right? So how do we make her have a baby?
Breeding her
How do we do that?
by injecting semen into her vagina.
That's right. So that's part of it. So first, we, for lack of a better word, jerk off a bull with an electrojaculator.
Is that wrong?
Well, what do you think? Do you think sexually exploiting animals is wrong?
Sorry? No. Exploiting?
Is that exploitation?
Well, I guess if
What is the statistics in terms of like how many bulls will like impregnate female cows?
they take very few bulls because they want like the best bull genetics. So those are like stud bulls, and those are the ones they jerk off and collect their semen.
And then insert it into
Well, so yeah, there's two levels to it. So with a cow, they put a giant glove on, and they penetrate her anus first, so that they can move around her cervix, and then they take a giant like foot-long needle full of semen and penetrate her vagina, so that they can put it into the cervix. Yeah. So they basically penetrate her twice forcibly in order to get her pregnant in the first place.
So
what? Wait, what?
is your goal to try and get humans to see that as a form of sexual violation? Because obviously with humans, most people would not consider that an okay behavior.
Yeah, I guess like what would we call it? You know, that's some question I just like ask people. You don't have to say it out loud, but just like think about it in your mind. You know, what we would call that in other contexts.
I think I would call that impregnation, whereas with a human, I would call that rape.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So then what happens once the mother cow has a baby? Right, because then she's pregnant and then she has a baby, right? So the baby wants the milk, but we also, the humans, want the milk. So there's a conflict.
But are there not cows that are bred specifically for producing milk?
No, there's mammals like all other mammals. So they produce milk when they have babies. Just like a dog would produce milk when they had a baby, we would produce milk. Well, I would produce milk. A woman would produce milk when she had a baby, right? So just like all other mammals, yeah.
I
So
think that the core of this issue is that we need to see us as humans as equal to animals, but
yeah, not even equal, but just to see them as someone that has inherent value, just like you would a dog, you know.
See, I don't view dogs as like inherently to be domesticated. Like
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't really view that as dogs. So
Do you view a cow and a dog as the same amount of like, I love this thing?
I really love dogs myself. So no, I love dogs more than cows, but I hate cats. So I love a cow more than a cat. But yeah, I don't think it matters how I feel about them. I think it matters their own experience. Like I could be like, man, I hate redheads, right? I could like really hate redheads. But if someone was like breeding and murdering redheads, I wouldn't be like, that's fine because I hate them. I'd be like, I still understand they have inherent value and that's an injustice, even though redheads are the fucking worst.
I see. I don't know.
okay, is this inherently anthropocentric to be that humans have more value than animals?
It might be. And again, like,
But I think in some ways that
Yeah.
that humans are like biologically distinct from like something like cows or dogs.
yeah. But you and me, you got to think about it too, are also biologically distinct in many ways. Like you and me have different eye colors and our brains aren't exactly the same. Our genes aren't exactly the same. They're similar, right? But we are not the exact same person. So if you looked at all our cells, all our genes, all our proteins, they would also be different, right? Now, of course, a cow and a dog are going to be more different. But just the mere fact that they're different shouldn't be enough to say they're now valueless or what happens to them doesn't matter.
What do you think? I don't know. This is very hard because I used to be a hardcore.
I think it makes sense.
It does make sense. Logically, it makes sense.
I feel like
think
in
it's
a big
hard
way it feeds a lot of people. I think that, animal domestication, one, has allowed, has allowed the proliferation and general, I wouldn't say improve, but proliferation of species, animals, all these other things. And ultimately, humanity is what it is today, almost entirely at its basis when it comes to animal husbandry.
Well, we certainly needed it in the past. That's definitely true.
Paola.
We definitely need it in the past. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I guess the question is, do we need it now? And so the thing is, if we were to, let's say everyone were to go plant-based in a hypothetical world, right? Do you know how much less land we would need for agriculture if everyone went plant-based?
You'd probably need 89% less.
It's pretty close, 75%. So that's an amount of land equal to the continent of Africa. So because we feed animals crops and they don't convert those crops efficiently, it's not just the land for the animals, but it's the land for all the crops for the animals. And so, yeah.
I mean, look, we're talking about grazing here, talking about factory farming, which I understand. I guess I feel personally that it's not like all this like growing crops in the way that would produce replace like meat-based diets. It's like a lot of soy, it's a lot of wheat. It's also like really damaging to ecology, farming in general.
Farming in general is.
I mean, I don't know. Why do I not want to let go of meat? Probably for selfish reasons.
It's definitely true that animal agriculture is rough on the environment, or that agriculture in general is rough. But by putting animals into it, we're actually multiplying the amount of agriculture because we're multiplying the amount of crops and animals. And so, by and large, animal agriculture just enhances the problems that are already endemic to agriculture in general.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? I care a lot more about environmental issues than I do about animals.
Sure.
Maybe, you know? Because I don't know a cow.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, selfish or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also feel that, like in the big picture, right? Like what really damages our environment, it's not necessarily agriculture. Like way bigger issues are like, you know, like I don't know, there's 100 corporations that produce, you know, so much carbon, you know, all these native things. People that corporations that aren't held responsible for their actions. But I personally feel like factory farming is not at the same like level of importance to me, and I feel like for the average person, I think of my personal sacrifice as not the personal sacrifice that needs to be made, because consumer agriculture is so minor.
A lot of people definitely think like that, and I mean that's why we're here. We're trying to get you to not always think of that, to think of, you know, the other individuals. One thing I think about is like, you know, if you were at another time in history when there was a group being oppressed, right?
Yeah.
You could have taken this position during that time also and said, hey, look, not my problem. I get that there's bad stuff happening, but I don't want to do anything about it, right? And a lot of people did take that position. And what I'm saying is that we're in a position like that right now, and you don't have to take that position. You could be one of those people who move forward and said, I'm not going to just remain quiet, I'm not going to do nothing. I am actually going to help because I recognize this as a perpetual problem throughout human history.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
Have you been convinced?
I'm working on it.
What about like certain Native American indigenous communities that more ethically slaughter animals?
Yeah, so I think one thing I always say about this, as like an activist and as a vegan, I don't go into like the wilds of Canada or wherever to talk to indigenous communities, right? I go to the places with the most privileged people in the world, like college campuses. So that's the focus. UPenn is a prestigious college, obviously. You guys are gonna have power in the world that the average person isn't. You're just gonna have more power just by dint of going to this school, right?
Absolutely.
And so,
Have a nice summer. Bye.
Ciao.
and so, not to blow up the Spider-Man quote, but I do think the more power, the more privilege you have, I think there's a stronger ethical pressure to do the right thing and to think about these issues seriously. You know, it's like I was saying to him, like if we were transported back into whatever time period, any time in history, when there was a group being oppressed, lots of people said, yeah, not my problem. I don't really want to get involved with it. I don't want to say anything. A lot of people did that, right? But the people we look back on and say, wow, I'm happy those people existed. That person is a hero, or that person really did something, are the people who actually spoke up and said, I'm not going to put up with their suppression, right? I know that this is wrong. I know that I can make a change in the world. And if you're here, I think you can really, really make a big change in the world.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's really nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
And I feel like it's questioned some of the things I thought were,
Yeah.
which I think
Awesome.
is the point.
Yeah. If I had a resource for you to go vegan, would you at least like check it out?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You give me the card.
And if you want to help me make this my full-time career, check out the Patreon in the description. And shout out to Ryan O'Neill, Tom Eisenbeiss, NetBase News, Monstar, David Yastrzemski, and Maxwell Edison.